Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our town hall to discuss the Bluffton University and University of Findlay merger. My name is Christine Denneker. I serve as Associate Vice President of Learning and Innovation at the University of Findlay, where I've been for 20 years, formerly as faculty in the English department. More importantly, I have been a resident of Bluffton for over 30 years, and I am one of 3 generations of my family to graduate from Bluffton College, Bluffton University. My mother, I, and my son. I am a proud Beaver. I am going to be one of the moderators for tonight's event, along with Robin Bolus.
Good evening, I'm Robin Bolus. I am the Vice President of Advancement and Enrollment Management here at Bluffton University. I have been here for 21 years, and I too am a proud Beaver. I received my MBA from Bluffton a few years ago.
Thanks, Robin. I'm just going to go over a little bit of the organization of tonight's event. First of all, we're going to spend a little time with introductions with each of the presidents so you have an opportunity to get to know them better, Dr. Kathy Fell and Dr. Jane Wood. We're also going to spend some time answering questions that have come in through our website, www.findlayblufftonfuture.com. There is a contact us form on that website where you can submit questions. We have been looking at those questions, gathering themes, and yesterday we provided some new FAQ answers on that website. We'll continue to do that as questions come in. If questions are more specific, we'll be reaching out to people as needed if they do not fall within a theme. Along with that, I wanted you to know another update to the website today is the recording of yesterday's town hall meeting at Findlay. So if you were not able to attend last night at Findlay, that town hall recording is also available on the website, and you can view that. And we've also added some new statements of support on the website as well. So thank you for checking those out. At this time, we're going to hand it over to Dr. Fell and Dr. Wood to begin with some introductions.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Dr. Jane Wood. I'm the president of Bluffton University, and with me is Dr. Kathy Fell, president of the University of Findlay. We are both so very glad that you took time to come and be here with us tonight. The purpose of this town hall is to share more information about the proposed merger between University of Findlay and Bluffton University. Before we get started, we'd like to share a little bit more information about ourselves. I feel like most of you probably know quite a bit about me, but just in case there are some Findlay folks who were not able to come up to the town hall there last night, I want to make sure I tell you a little bit about myself. I came to Bluffton 6 years ago as the 10th president of our university. I had previously served as Vice President of Academic Affairs and Dean at Mount Marty College in South Dakota. I've also been a tenured English department faculty member, department chair, and academic dean. Originally, I'm from St. Joseph, Missouri, where I met my husband, Wayne McGaw. We met in high school, married in college, and we have 2 adult daughters and one really special little guy that I might be partial to named Alfie. It is an honor to lead Bluffton University with our commitment to nurturing our core values of discovery, community, respect, and service. I am proud to work alongside my dedicated colleagues to prepare students of all backgrounds for life, as well as vocation, and ultimately for God's universal kingdom. If you're not familiar with Bluffton, let me share some brief background information. The school was founded in 1899. We soon became known as Bluffton College. Our official motto was and is, "The truth makes free." In 2004, our name changed to Bluffton University to better represent the breadth of our academic programs. If you are doing the math, 1899 to 2024 is 125 years, and we will be celebrating that at homecoming this year, so please come back. We offer more than 90 majors, minors, and interdisciplinary programs, plus graduate degrees in business administration, education, nutrition and dietetics, organizational management, and most recently, social work. We are proud to be the Bluffton Beavers. Our student athletes compete on 18 NCAA Division III teams in the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, or the HCAC. The current board leadership of Bluffton University understands that the landscape of higher education is changing It calls us to be forward-thinking, to succeed, and to help our students succeed. If you're a Bluffton University board member, would you please stand? If you are a former Bluffton University board member, would you please stand? Larry. Let's thank our trustees for being here. As we enter this time of transition toward a merger, President Fell and I pledge to you this: to bring together and preserve the strengths of both beloved campuses so that we are even stronger together. Our early interactions have made clear that we share a commitment to prepare generations of students yet to come to find and live out their callings, to serve and live in communities near and far. The landscape of higher education is calling upon us to be innovative and forward-thinking, and this merger will be both. The strong roots of each of our universities will be entwined into a brighter future for the students, alumni, and the communities we serve. You will notice on the image behind us, this is a tree. This is not the new Findlay or the new Bluffton logo. This is our internal logo for this pending merger to show the purple and orange leaves and the strong roots that we all share. So this was designed by Allison King, one of our Bluffton University employees, and we think she's just done a lovely job. So just wanted to point out her artwork. So now, if you will please listen closely to Dr. Fell about herself and Bluffton and Findlay University.
Thank you. I hope someday to know as much about Bluffton as I do the University of Findlay. But for today, I want to say that thank you for welcoming me here so that we can begin to get to know one another. I want to introduce myself a bit and talk a little bit about the University of Findlay. Some of you know us very well. We have a former board member ourselves here. And some of you do not know much about the University of Findlay. And this is a time of change and significant transition for both campuses. And whatever emotion you may be feeling about this, I respect. But first, a bit about me as we're getting to know one another. I am in my 14th year at the University of Findlay. I grew up in the Deep South in a small town, Stamps, Arkansas, where the home of Maya Angelou. I went to school, to college in Magnolia, Arkansas. Could you imagine a town named better than Magnolia? Where I met my husband, Roger. We later married when we were in graduate school at Texas A&M. We proceeded very quickly to have 6 children, 5 sons and a daughter. And I am not responsible for the population cliff. I just want to make that very clear to you. Our daughter, interestingly enough, is married to a wonderful man who grew up in the Mennonite Church and graduated from Eastern Mennonite University. And they are now in Harrisonburg, Virginia, surrounded by his Mennonite family. It's a wonderful place and a wonderful heritage for him. And our 4 grandchildren who live there are enjoying that. And altogether, we have 9 grandchildren. All of them are wonderful. None of them are any cuter than Alfie. So it has been my honor, and I mean that, a gift, an honor, and a calling to serve the University of Findlay for these 14 years now. It's a good place, just as Bluffton University is a good place. And the goodness of these 2 places is what has brought us here this evening. So a few facts about the university, in case you're not familiar with it. Are some of you, by chance, graduates of the University of Findlay or students now at the University of Findlay? Great. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Yes. So you could probably give the speech, but I'm going to give it. So we have 86 bachelor degrees, 11 master's, and 5 doctoral degrees. They're organized into 6 colleges. The first college is the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, and then the 5 others are College of Business, College of Education, College of Health Professions, College of Pharmacy, and College of Sciences. Our total enrollment annually averages around 3,500 students, including just under 400 international students from more than 35 countries. In addition, we teach almost 2,000 high school students through our College Credit Plus program. Our Oilers student athletes compete in NCAA Division II, and we have 22 men's and women's teams. We also have non-NCAA sports, including Western and equestrian competitions. And we are not moving a horse farm to the nature preserve. I just want to make that very, very clear. There are many rumors out there, and that's one of them that I found fascinating, not happening. As we enter this time of a transition toward merger, President Wood and I pledge to you this, that we will bring together and preserve strengths of both beloved campuses so that we are even stronger together. We are not interested in losing the culture and the strength and history and faith exercised on this campus. That is not of any interest to us, and it would be a terrible thing to do. You are a good campus, you're a strong campus, you're a stable campus, and we appreciate that, as we appreciate the strengths and culture and faith exercised on our campus. Our early intentions have made clear that we share a commitment to prepare generations of students yet to come, to find and live out their callings, to serve and lead in communities near and far. That's what you've been doing for 125 years. It's what the University of Findlay has been doing for 142 years. We have every intention of coming together so that we can secure another 300, 400, 500 years, God willing. We want to be here, and we're not entirely in charge. But we do believe this is what we are called to do now. I assure you that the Bluffton values of discovery, community, respect, and service are also treasured on the Findlay campus. The landscape of higher education all around us, all over the country, is changing. It calls upon us to be innovative and forward-thinking. This merger is both of those things. The strong roots of each of our universities will entwine into a brighter future for the students, alumni, and communities we serve now, and that our students will serve all over the world. On behalf of the entire University of Findlay community, we're looking forward to getting to know you and to welcoming you into our family life. And we hope that you will be able to trust that over time and come to know that we mean it and that we respect what you have built here, and we hope to introduce you to a campus that you can respect in Findlay. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Fell. Part of our work together in the days ahead will be building relationships. As we know, we have a saying here on our campus, it's all about relationships, and so we know how important they are, as does the University of Findlay. Dr. Fell and I appreciate the chance to let you know a bit about ourselves and our institutions. We have spent the past days since the announcement doing a whole lot of listening. We realize the news of the merger is affecting people in different ways. We know that it takes time to process these feelings, whether they are feelings of grief, anger, uncertainty, and excitement. All of those may be together at the same time. Please know that we have both come to this work thoughtfully and with a great deal of prayer. On the screen, you will see principles that have guided the work of the communication team and will continue to guide the work on our campuses. As we collaborate to build our collective future, We believe these principles are what makes our approach to merging unique, and we hope you will read through these principles to see what's at the heart of the future we hope to build together. Even though Findlay and Bluffton are organizations, this coming together is not a corporate merger. So I think sometimes when we hear the word merger, we think about movies, we think about takeovers and that sort of thing. Findlay is not buying Bluffton. We are not oranges in the grocery store to be purchased. Oranges, I don't know why that came out.
Orange is a good color.
It is a good color, but so is eggplant. So we are strong and we are stable and we have so much to be proud of. We have so many wonderful memories to be proud of and more memories to make in the future. So they are not buying us. We are coming together again in prayer and strength and collaboration to make each of our organizations stronger. Yes, once a merger document is signed, our two organizations will be governed under one umbrella with one president, one board of trustees, but the far more part of what is more exciting about this merger is the possibilities it brings to our students and campuses, and we want to talk more about that. Just this morning, Inside Higher Education ran an article on higher education mergers in New York State. These mergers are seen most frequently among smaller, independent universities. Findlay and Bluffton are at the forefront of this movement in Ohio. Higher education has followed the same model of doing business for a long time. Now we are being asked to do something different. Instead of competing for the same pool of students, Findlay and Bluffton will be working together to serve those students in new ways. Together, we can strengthen students' opportunities for faith-based education in Northwest Ohio. We will now turn to the questions portion of the evening. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through, Kathy and I are going to go through some responses to the most asked questions on our website. And then we're going to invite any of you who would like to go to the mics. They're positioned, to my right and to my left, to your right and to your left as well, and to ask your question. We will ask, if you've got a prepared statement, please give that to us after the presentation, and just ask one question apiece, if you could, so that other people have time to ask questions. We promise we will get back to you if we don't get to your question. We are updating our website regularly, and we both pledge to you that we will answer any question you have. So we'll stay after even if you have a question and it didn't get answered. Okay, so we will turn over back to Chris and Robin.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. And I will just say briefly that website and the communication is being run by a collaborative team that is represented by both Findlay members and Bluffton members, and it has from the start. So we've been working together to get that information out to you, and as questions come in, we work together daily to provide answers to those questions. So Robin's going to give us the first question that's kind of themed out from the website.
Presidents, what are examples of other schools that have completed a merger like this?
So we did look to other organizations that we thought were there were some models that might be helpful to us. So here at Bluffton, and as we were looking through these, we looked at Conrad Grable. Conrad Grable is a Mennonite organization within the University of Waterloo system, and it has its own identity, a Mennonite identity within that larger system. Our oldest daughter went to Barnard College, which is an all-women's college in New York City. It is a college with an identity of its own within the Columbia University system. And so my daughter graduated with a diploma from Barnard College. We went to that graduation. And then she graduated from the Columbia University system, and we went to that graduation. So she has 2 diplomas, which was great fun. So those were just a couple of models. We looked at more, but those were a couple of models where we saw a smaller organization that was having its own clear identity within a larger system.
And another example that is closer to home, perhaps not geographically, but in makeup, is the merger between Bloomfield, a D2, an NCAA D2 school, with Mont St. Clair University, which is a D3 school in New Jersey. So that is a plan that NCAA has approved across the country a number of times, and we are working already with NCAA. Our vice presidents of student affairs on both campuses were in Indianapolis yesterday, working with NCAA to be sure that we make all the appropriate applications so that the Oilers can remain D2 athletes on our campus and the Beavers remain D3 athletes on your campus. We believe that's important to your identity and to ours, and we believe the differences actually in those experiences are something that we should treasure and build upon, and that's what we intend to do.
While we're talking about athletics, I might just also mention that some of the concerns that have come forward are the concerns about making sure we have a very vibrant campus and continue to have a very vibrant campus here in Bluffton. Both Kathy and I intend that. That is very exciting. The NCAA will insist on it. So their rule for both D2 and D3 is that student athletes must take the majority of their courses on the campus for which they play. Let me say that again. Student athletes in D2 and D3 must take the majority of courses on the campus, the physical campus where they play their sport. And so that is also embedded with the NCAA. So I just thought while we're talking about that and we're talking about making applications, that's something we would want you all to know.
Okay, we're going to move on to the second question. This one, why am I seeing pending language? Is this merger happening or not?
We believe it's happening, but a merger takes place in 4 phases, and we have completed only phase 1. I think you would be very upset with us if we were legally, completely merged and you just heard about it last week. I would be upset with us. That's not how it works. So we've completed the first phase of 4 phases. And in that first phase, the boards of trustees of both campuses must approve moving forward simply to signing a memorandum of understanding, which states very clearly our intent to take all steps necessary to merge the 2 universities into one. So the reason that we say would or should is that legally we can't say we are merged. We are working toward a merger in the next 3 phases. We have entered, as of March 20th, on Wednesday of last week, we entered phase 2, which is implementation and continued due diligence. We did a great deal of due diligence before our trustees approved, I might add unanimously in both cases, and I wasn't here for the Bluffton University vote, but I was in Findlay, of course, for the Findlay board vote, and not only was it unanimous, but it was enthusiastic. I've never seen them all clap at once. It was a great event, and they're clapping because they're convinced that our cultures are similar and we will make each other stronger as one unit. Let me repeat, we are not buying Bluffton. We are not taking over Bluffton. This decision, even to take it to our boards of trustees, came after almost a year of conversations about how we could serve the community of Northwest Ohio and how we could serve our students even better by collaboration. And we came to the point that we understood, President Wood and I understood, that a merger would be much more powerful, would be better for streamlining decisions and for moving forward into new markets for new students. That's the second phase. There are 2 more phases. The second phase that we began, remember we signed a memorandum of understanding on March 19th, and we made a public announcement on March 20th. We did not want to keep it secret, and we are not secret now. You are all in this, and we will have working teams and decision makers working together from both campuses from this point forward. And phase 2 is the longest part of this phase. It will be 12 to 15 months. Not only will we be working together to determine how best to go forward to build capacity for more students and to take care of the students we have, but we will be seeking approvals from a number of accrediting and approval agencies. NCAA is one of them, the Higher Learning Commission is another, and then the Department of Higher Education. And those applications take time, months of time. The third phase will be implementation, and that is simply the point at which our boards and leadership on both campuses agree that we want to merge, we're going to merge, and here is our agreement with the terms of this merger that are good for both of us. We sign it, and that is the third phase. The fourth phase, we launch. We start working together, and we have a big celebration. So I look forward to that party.
I would also just add a little bit about the pending language. Just so you know, as President Fell said, we did a lot of due diligence, and part of that due diligence was going to the NCAA and to HLC. Higher Learning Commission is the organization that accredits both of our organizations. They make sure that we are part of a system that is healthy, and they accredit us about every four years, and then every 10 they come and do a site visit. And so we went to our liaison, we share the same liaison, and we said, we are thinking about doing this, what is your response? We had enthusiastic responses from both HLC and NCAA. Now, as President Fell said, it is going to take some time, because now that we have sort of the response that yes, not only is this possible, but we also think it's a good idea. Now there's paperwork. Reams and reams and reams of paperwork. And so that's part of the reason it takes time. Part of the reason it takes time is because we will be working together to make decisions that will go into some of that paperwork for the final approvals. So we don't want to get out ahead of our accreditors and say we're doing this without your approval. So until such time as we have the approvals from our accreditors, you are going to continue to see language that says pending, intend to, hope to, plan to. So that language will continue.
Thank you. With that background, can you explain why were alumni, faculty, staff, and students not able to share their opinion before deciding to pursue a merger?
Yeah, this is, as President Fell said, this was really hard for us. We make decisions hopefully together. We try to be as transparent as possible. It was very important to us to tell you as quickly as we could. So as President Fell said, the boards voted unanimously. I think it's also really important to note that our trustees on each of our campuses have the fiduciary responsibility for making these kinds of decisions. And so while President Fell and I both really support this decision and see many possibilities, this was not our decision either individually or collectively to make. And so that is a really important piece. So after our boards voted to pursue the merger, then we had to sign an MOU, and it is at the advice of consultants, legal experts, that until that MOU is signed, this doesn't become public. Because if we pursue this opportunity and we decide, or our boards decide for one reason or another, that it is not in our best interest, it doesn't serve either of our institutions or our students well to know about that ahead of time. And so this is part, as President Fell said, of the first phase. But believe me, we signed the document, and the next day we made the public announcement, and now we're here to answer your questions, and we will continue doing that. And so that is the reason why it's just part of the process. But now we are in phase 2, which is the longest phase, in many ways the most important, and you are all right here with us together as we start to work together towards phase 3.
Okay, another question. What will happen to Bluffton's endowment and future gifts made by donors?
We're keeping them, and we're keeping them intact as directed by the donors. There are documents signed, gift agreements that people at each university sign when a donor makes a gift, an endowed gift that is not to be spent in a given amount of time, but to be kept and used over the years. So we will honor the requirements of every gift agreement that Bluffton University has and that the University of Findlay has. Like as in any other campus situation in philanthropy, if a program that a particular gift supports or the group of students that a particular gift is set up to support, if those students are no longer part of the campus, and that's in normal circumstances, I'm not talking about during a merger, just in normal circumstances. Sometimes then a philanthropy officer will go back to the donor to say, would you consider adjusting your criteria? And either the donor will or will not. The same thing would happen in our situation. We will honor the gifts as they are given, if they're given for students who are at Bluffton, and that is what the donor wants, that's what we will do. We'll abide by the wishes of the original donor unless the donor decides to expand the opportunities of that gift.
I was just in a conversation with one of our most generous donors this afternoon, and they were very positive about the opportunities for us, and they wanted to make sure that their gift would remain as it was intended, and I was able to reassure them that yes, indeed, it will. And so we are having those conversations, with our donors, and they were very appreciative of the information and feel like it's been a good communication so far. So we are checking in with the people who love and care about Bluffton University and the University of Findlay who aren't able to be with us tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Wood and Dr. Fell. We have other questions from the website, but we're going to turn it to the audience now. As Dr. Wood said, if you would like to ask a question, please come to one of the microphones at each end of the stage. We ask that you tell us your name. If you want to tell us what school you're affiliated with or your reason for being here, we would love to take your questions. As noted before, if you're here to give a statement, we can gather those statements because we want to make sure this time is meant for questions and answers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy Patton, and my father was an alumni, and I'm an alumni of Bluffton, so go Beavers. I have a question for you. It pertains to the nursing program. I know you probably still have an open position for the director of nursing, and I know that you also have a director of nursing for the Findlay program. So what does that look like in the future as you have this partnership? And I'm sure you probably have other positions as well that may be similar. How does that partnership meld together or collaborate in the future?
I can start. Yeah, that's a great question. One of our students asked it this afternoon. So President Fell and I met with students at noon today, and one of our students asked that question. So that's a really important one. So nursing is very important here. It is one of what we would call our biggest enrollment pipelines. And so we absolutely plan to continue that. We also are really excited about the opportunities for our students to participate or in some ways to have expertise from the University of Findlay's system. So remember, our students must take the majority of their coursework here. So we will continue offering nursing courses here. But one of the things we have learned how to do in the last few years is to use OWLs, to use hybrid technology through Zoom, and to be able to hopefully share some faculty. We don't have all the answers for you to that question today, but I know that Dr. Sider is our academic dean. Alex, if you would raise your hand, is over here. And the academic dean from the University of Findlay is right up here. That's one of the top things on their priority is to start to work on that synergy.
Can I ask, what does that do to the directors then?
That's a really good question, too.
Oh, so that's why I'm answering it. Let's hope I have a really good answer. So, program by program, position by position, we're going to be fair and make the best decision for the future of the program. We don't have a list of positions or programs that we are intending to weaken or harm in any way. So what does it mean for the directors? All I can tell you is that we will get input from the people in those programs. That we believe in shared governance at the University of Findlay, and of course Bluffton does. So we will make these decisions through our regular academic processes, but the difference is, this time, we have a whole host of transition teams from every division of our universities. So academic affairs is a big one. We'll have representatives from Bluffton and representatives from Findlay to help us go program by program, question by question, position by position, to make the most advantageous decisions regarding the future leaders, directors, and professors for our programs. We don't know what that means for directors, but what I can tell you is that we plan for it to be good. And I'm not a politician, I'm just telling you the truth. Any politician would tell you that we don't have a bad plan, right? I'm not one of those people. We really intend for Bluffton University to be strong and the University of Findlay. So nursing is important. The world is desperate for them. We're both affiliated with Blanchard Valley Health System. The CEO there, Myron Cobb, is always asking for, Myron Cobb is at the University of Findlay. Myron is always asking for more nurses. So I think the future of nursing on our campuses is strong. If you have any suggestions for what to do with the directors, would you please call me?
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, the other thing I hear you, maybe is also part of that question is, our existing wonderful faculty and staff. And so we both are going to be honoring, both of our institutions are honoring tenure. So if you're a tenured faculty member here at Bluffton University, as we merge, you will continue to be a tenured faculty member. We will also be honoring tenure track status. So if you are in year 3 of being a tenure track faculty member, you still are a tenure track being a faculty member in year 3. So we need and want to keep our wonderful and good and excellent faculty and staff. Between our two organizations, we have 50 open positions. So if you have a heart for students, come see us.
We're hiring. Who's next?
I'm Ivan Friesen. I live here in Bluffton on Spring Street across from Riley Court. I'm not a graduate of Bluffton University, but my wife is, and her 2 sisters were also graduates. My question is addressed somewhat more perhaps to Dr. Fell. You mentioned that our cultures are similar. When I looked on your website, I noticed that you have a program of Reserve Officers Training Corps, ROTC, of the United States Army as part of your program. I submit that this is incompatible with a merger to perhaps then bring that program here to this university. I object to that.
I understand.
And I think, actually, that it ought to perhaps be not be a part of, in any negotiations, it ought not to be a part of the moving forward of the University of Findlay. It ought to be taken away.
I appreciate and respect that position, and I'm not really surprised to hear it, because I know how deeply that dedication to peace and all of its and all that means is to a number of founders and continuing members of the Bluffton University community. And we certainly intend to respect that at the Bluffton campus. And we're hoping that the people at the Bluffton campus, Bluffton University, can offer peace to those at the University of Findlay with whom you disagree. That's how that's sort of central to our culture and our principles by which we live. We're founded by the Churches of God General Conference. We continue to be closely affiliated with that denomination, and it holds very deep religious beliefs as well. Some of them similar, and some of them perhaps very different from the church, the Mennonite church represented here. We understand that. On our campus, we are used to requiring respect for our traditional Christian faith as our founding church defines it, and welcoming all who come in peace with us and disagree with us respectfully in civil discourse. And that has become a central mission over the years of the University of Findlay, and that's how we deal with difference. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Larry Copeland. I have a couple thoughts, a couple suggestions. First of all, I'm in the business world. I've seen mergers. That's what we're talking about. There's always someone in control. Ultimately, there's someone in control. So how does Bluffton, with 600 students, compete against 3,600 students? Does that mean you're going to have equal members on the board from the Bluffton University and equal members from the University of Findlay? So that's my first question. Do you have an answer?
Yes, okay. I just want to make sure you were finished with your first question. I didn't know if I were answering two or one at once. So we will not be governed, I don't believe, in the way that you are asking, with equal representation from both campuses. It will be, my assumption is that the members of the board will be representative of both campuses for sure, but there will be a larger number of representatives from the University of Findlay than from Bluffton.
Okay. So which brings up...
Larry, can I also add something to that? We will have, Findlay has already said to our board that they would like some of our Board of Trustee members to sit on their governing board. So I think that is really important. And we will still continue here, we have to work out the details, to have an advisory board comprised of our current board members. So Bluffton will have representation on Findlay's governing board, which I think is really, really important and was important to our trustees. I will also say, and I want to say this very clearly, that one of the synergies here is in becoming more efficient. And part of that is that while we will have a CEO here and we will have leadership here, there will be one president, and it will be Kathy Fell. And she is a wonderful leader. She has led the University of Findlay wonderfully for 14 years. She's been a mentor to me as a president. She has led a university through so much here in Northwest Ohio, and it has been a growing university for her. And so it is an honor and a privilege to serve Bluffton University. I will continue to be the president until the final documents are signed in 9 or 12 or 15 months. And then at that time, I've promised Kathy and the board I'll do whatever they want me to do. And they will decide what the leadership structure, the working groups will decide what the leadership and administrative structure needs to be on this campus to manage it as well as possible. And that will be a combination of people looking at what this looks like when we are looking at our resources and our synergies together. So on one hand, Larry, yes, we're small but mighty. Right, we're the little engine that could institution. So we hold our chin up with the best of you, and so I think that will be a fine thing. they also bring a world of resources to us and to our students that I'm really excited about, and I can talk more about, but I want to get to your next question.
Okay, first of all, I come from a family in 1947 where I was a stepchild. No one likes to feel like a stepchild, and the thing that made me feel that way was the article in the Findlay paper today.
Today? It was in there today?
And what it
missed
said
it.
was, what are we going to be called? Are we going to be called Bluffton University? Are we going to be called Bluffton University and Findlay University? Are we going to retain our identity as Bluffton University? To me, that's critical, because there's a lot of pluses to joining, as long as we're not stepchildren. There's a lot of positives for joining with you, because it will allow us to help recruit people who are interested in pharmacy, as an example, or physical therapy. And if we have this very, very strong program here, it's a lead program. And one of the important things about that kind of a lead program is that you take your own students if they qualify.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I have a son who graduated from University of Chicago in medicine, but he was admitted his sophomore year. And it was a lead program into medical school because he had done so well. So are you going to have a lead program where you're going to give people from Bluffton a great opportunity to get those professional degrees?
We certainly hope so. That's been one of the advantages we've spoken about, and our academic leaders have discussed this and spoken of it. We don't have the specific process yet, but we do have room, certainly, in our doctoral level medical professional programs, and we do hope, very much hope, that Bluffton students will want to transition into it, and of course we will set up pathways for that. Yeah, of course we would. We think, and it's one of the reasons we think a merger, not competing with one another, not constantly renegotiating the terms, but becoming one and doing it all together from the beginning and throughout, will be a smoother, more advantageous situation for both the students who are now Bluffton University students and for the University of Findlay students, because we may have more students, but you also have programs that we don't have, very attractive programs, and we want our students to have those opportunities to transition smoothly here. And in that sense, we both have much to offer to each of us has a lot to offer to the other. And ultimately, these things don't happen really quickly, but in appropriate timing, I hope both the Bluffton campus and the Findlay campus have even more programs to offer, not only for our own students transitioning from one campus to the other, but offerings that attract far more students from all over the country to both campuses. We won't be competing. We will be one institution, and we won't have any stepchildren. We only have children.
Thank you, Larry. And let me offer, too, that we're happy to talk with you more, Larry, too. We can
I have other
lunch.
questions, but there's other people, so I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you more.
Hello there. My name is David Edmiston, and Dr. Fell, I believe I was the one responsible for the rumor.
Which rumor? Which one? There's so many.
The one that you laughed off about the nature preserve becoming a horse farm.
You know, I'm a very deeply Christian person, and I forgive you.
I'm not really asking for forgiveness on that one, and I'll tell you exactly why. I, too, like the previous questionnaire, I've been in the world of business for a long time, and he's right. This is just a merger. In your own language, describes it. You describe the CEO that's going to be at Bluffton. You talked about the secrecy thing. It's not something you would normally see in anything but a corporate merger. So, yeah, no, you laughed off the observation that I made, but it was what anybody else would see. What does Bluffton have? that Findlay would be interested in, and that would be a prime one, if you ask me. So that said, you're now not being secretive anymore, even though you did take a year to approach your own board.
Do you have a question?
I do have a question. Okay,
Please.
I'll be very direct.
Thank you. We are short on time, so we want to make sure everybody has a chance to
I'm
ask
going
a
to ask a
question.
question for my grandfather. So if I follow the contributions to Bluffton for the last 4 years, which has been your tenure, I see $4.8 million last year, $6.7 million the year before, $4.2 million the year before. 2019, which was the first year, fiscal year of your start, was $3.5 million. Together, that adds up to 15% of Bluffton's revenue over the last 4 years. Now, in your due diligence, which you conducted for a year, I'm sure you considered the scenario that those donations dry up. And so my question is, why would the people, many of whom I'm assuming in this room, continue to contribute and make sure you don't have a 15% budget deficit when they're giving to the University of Findlay?
I sure can. And thank you for your honesty. We know, again, we've talked a lot about the questions and trying to help people work through where they're at and where they are. So we appreciate you coming forward, and please thank your grandfather as well. And I would say that I'm always available if you want to set up a meeting. I'm happy to talk with you at another venue and sit down with you and your grandfather. So we did talk a lot about that. We think it is really important to communicate with our donors. They have been utmost on our minds, as well as our students and our staff and our faculty. And so one of the things we're realizing, and we're seeing this all over higher education, we don't expect any of you here to read the higher education journals. Some of it is not so great, and some of it's really quite fine. But what we're seeing all over is that people are being pulled in many directions. They're being asked to give. I don't know about you, but every time I open my mailbox, I'm asked to give to St. Jude's, which I do. I'm asked to help the local food bank. I'm like, we are as a nation, we are being spread very thin. And often our donors are saying to us, we love Bluffton, we care about Bluffton, especially generationally by donors. That is something that shifts. And so we did look, as part of our due diligence, we did look at what does giving look like in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years. And so that was a part of our
Specifically next year.
Excuse me?
Specifically next year before the merger, when your independent entities don't have financial support from University of Findlay.
Yes, we have looked at that, and we believe we do have a plan for that. And we hope to be able to answer all of our donors' questions and to care for them. And if they decide to stop giving, we sure hope they don't. We'd like the opportunity to talk to them and get to know their concerns and be able to work through those concerns. But we do appreciate the question.
Without an answer.
Okay, we're going to move on.
Thank you. Inside Higher Ed, Chronicle of Higher Education, often, or too often, are focusing on universities that are closing. Notre Dame in Ohio, Lake Erie College is currently in forbearance on their debt. With a merger, which I assume will be approved, I can't imagine it won't be, and a newly constituted board, what are the chances, or what are the guardrails that would prohibit a new jointly board of trustees from really looking at Bluffton University as somewhat of less than ideal weight and look upon it as a sellable asset and immediately vote to close the university and liquidated assets for the benefit of a larger institution?
Let me begin with that one. The physical assets of Bluffton University were significant. I agree with you on that point. But the physical assets of Bluffton would be one inflow of cash, significant cash, and that would be that. We're not interested in that. We don't need it at this point. We believe the reason for a merger would not be to gain physical assets that we can turn around and sell. It is that we believe what Bluffton University offers sets us up, along with, in conjunction with what University of Findlay offers, sets us up to keep attracting enough students and even more students to be in business for decades to come. And to avoid those struggles that will come in 3 to 5 years when there are even fewer students applying to go to college. That's our intention.
But the new board would certainly have that power to say Bluffton.
Power.
Yeah.
Power, yes.
All right, thank you.
But the intelligence of that decision would be very lacking.
Thank you.
And I would also say we will have members of our Board of Trustees who will be sitting on the Findlay Governing Board. And so again, we will have representation there. I do, in part with your question, we want to say, there are some things that we want to grow. So we're doing this also because we think we can grow. And so if we look at programs, I sit on a wonderful hospital board, and we are regularly looking at and thinking about programs that would benefit our local community. And quite frankly, as a smaller institution, we can't start those programs by ourselves. They are too expensive, and we just don't have the human power. Together, we believe we can start new programs that will be important to furthering growth for students and to retain leaders in Northwest Ohio. Right now, we just don't have the ability to do that. We have a list, and that's what the working groups will be working through, of potential programs that would be new to start and bring more energy to Bluffton. And so I think that is very, very important. The other thing I would say is that overall, the number of high school students who are going to college is dropping. We are predicting in Ohio alone that will be 11%, 11%. Just within the next few years, and that will continue 3, 5, 10 years out. And so that is something we are continually grappling with. That is across the state of Ohio. And so as we lose enrollment, and it doesn't mean we aren't doing a really good job in enrollment, it doesn't mean we're not working super, super hard, there just aren't as many available college students. And so rather than competing with Findlay and saying, hey, you should come here for our, I'm an English faculty member at heart, so are you coming here for our English department or going to Kathy's? We can say, you can come here for an English department, for a major. You can go to Findlay for an English department major, but now between our two faculties, we can have a medievalist and we can have more resources, and that is to benefit you, our students. And maybe, I don't know what programs we'll want to start, but I can dream of all kinds of graduate programs that we might think about starting in the humanities, in the arts, and in the sciences. So part of this is to grow. There really is no benefit if we don't grow and apply our synergies together for our students and our pipelines. It's not really a benefit to the University of Findlay. As much as we love our assets and as much as we love our buildings and we're proud of all of them, financially, if you look at the numbers and you look at all of that, they would not be interested in us. I don't believe, although we do have a really beautiful new science building.
I know.
But the numbers and sort of the upkeep of buildings also is quite something to do, as some of our buildings and grounds folks can tell you. So this really is an opportunity for us to come together, and I really would encourage us just for a moment. I know it is so hard, and we have to work to win your trust, but just for one moment, we could say, we're gonna just take a moment to imagine, set our disbelief aside, our skepticism aside, and say, we are gonna imagine what it would look like to really serve our students well, to join our 600 or 700 students with 3,500 students, 400 international students. We have a passion for international students, to really look at what could we do with international students here in Northwest Ohio. Could we dream for just a minute about the things we could do together when we're not spending all that money competing against one another? That's, as a person of faith, that sounds awfully lovely to me.
Thank you. Let's get.
We're going to take just one more question. It's 8 o'clock right now, but we're going to let this be the last question.
But we're here if you all want to ask us questions privately.
But we know some folks planned on just being here for an hour, and we want to honor that
Right.
time commitment to you all, but we'll stay and answer questions individually.
Hi, my name is Logan Daughtery. I am a first-year Bluffton student, and my father is a Bluffton alumni. My question is kind of a two-parter question. When I was applying to colleges, I was mostly looking at big universities that could give me the kind of opportunities that only a big university could give me, like research and stuff like that. But I ultimately chose Bluffton because of the things that make Bluffton unique. Things like the cross-culturals, the honor code, the very small student-to-faculty ratio. Can we be confident as students that these things are going to stay the same for the rest of our education and continuing on after that? And also for students who have kind of had this merger sprung on us very suddenly, is there anything that we can look at beyond just taking your word for it, that what you're saying is actually what is going to be implemented in the future?
Well, as we go, we'll be presenting updates to you from the transition teams represented with representation from both campuses, so you can keep up with us. We're also going to be including students in our decision making. Actually, students are the main focus of everything we do, and you will have not only be able to keep up with our updates, you will influence our decisions, the students at large, representatives of student bodies on both campuses. So can I promise you exactly what the policies will say by the time we begin in the fall of 25, not word for word, but I can tell you that we will honor the principles by which we have been living on both campuses. And the respect and focus we have for students will not change.
And I hear a rumor that the University of Findlay really likes our Bluffton blueprint.
We do.
And that they think it is a wonderful part of who we are. And so I do believe that you can be comfortable and confident in the Bluffton blueprint and in the honor code and the things that make us who we are. As President Fell has said, they have no interest in us not being who we are. That's part of what attracts.
The attraction. You attract a particular type of student, and we attract a particular type of students, and we like both types. So we want to keep attracting even more of you, Bluftonites and Findlayites.
And I'm so glad that our last question was from a student. Logan, thank you for your courage and for standing up and asking your questions. That's just the kinds of students we appreciate and that we seek to serve.
Thank you.
Presidents, would you like to say anything else before we wrap up the evening?
Let them speak. Let the people speak. You guys talked a long time. We want to hear from the other people.
You've had a lot of time to speak, and you've gone on and on and on. I would really like to hear what these people with questions have to say.
So I'm comfortable with that. I think we're comfortable with that. I think, could I suggest this? We're happy to do that. And if you want to hear and listen, I don't mind staying longer. Is that okay with you? But we should offer the opportunity for people who need to leave to go.
Yeah, and not feel awkward about it. So if you're
Take a break? Could we take a minute break and let the people who have other obligations go?
And somebody who might need a biological break. And so if we could just
That was a very Mennonite approach.
If we could just take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we will come back and answer questions. And that way people who feel like, okay, I can catch Jane and Kathy later.
Okay, everyone. We're going to go ahead and resume. Hope everyone had a chance to get a little time to stretch, get something to drink, take a break, make a connection with a friend. So at this point, we have 3 people standing over here, 3 people standing to this side of the room, ready to ask questions, and I believe we have 1 over there, so we're going to take those questions. We please ask that you ask 1 question, not multiple questions if possible, and I'm going to go ahead and begin on this side.
Thank you. My name is Iris Neufeld. I'm a graduate of Bluffton. I'm also the registrar here. I am strongly opposed to this merger. And I would like to ask if we can have a time when people who aren't supporting the merger and think it's damaging to Bluffton University to tell why that is, express our concerns, and talk about alternatives. this doesn't seem to be the time, so I'd like to ask that we would have a time to do that publicly.
Well, I would say yes, you can. For one thing, you can meet with the two of us. All you have to do is, we could do that, but also there is a frequently asked questions opportunity on our website, if that's helpful.
It isn't
Is that's not what
I'd
you...
like time for people to tell why they think this is a bad idea and to talk about alternatives.
And so what would, we want to hear that, and you have every right to disagree with it and to express that disagreement. That's what higher education teaches us to do. So we want to honor that opportunity for anyone who has a strong opinion against this merger. But I think we would have to find a way to organize that so that you can speak to leaders who need to hear it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, except I'd like it to be broader than just to the two presidents.
Okay. Other decision makers as well, would that be helpful?
And I think it's really important that administration and the board talk to faculty, staff, alumni. There's so many people who don't think this is a good idea who would like a chance to talk about that.
Well, and we're happy to give them that opportunity. In some ways, this is that opportunity, but there's not enough time, and there aren't enough, there are too many speakers for the time, right? Thank you.
If you don't mind, Lorinda, we'll go to that side first and then come back to you.
I'm Paula Owen, and my husband and I are proud Bluffton College graduates. And our son, Matthew, is going to be a student here in the fall. And he is, we tried to get him to consider other colleges, and he said, nope.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. But his biggest concern is my diploma going to say Bluffton? Can you answer that?
I can start too. So as I said before, our daughter graduated from Barnard College. She got a diploma from Barnard College. She also got a diploma from the Columbia University system. So one of the things that we are going to be working on very quickly in the next few months, and that will be, we have committees that we'll be talking about, is they're going to be working on answering just that question. And so we should be able to tell you, as the committee will be getting updates, as the committees do their work, whether it will be a Bluffton, and Bluffton will be in the name of whatever our campus or our college is, and whether it will be a separate diploma or whether it will say Bluffton on it as a part of the University of Findlay, or whether there will be two or one, but it will be very clear some way or the other that it will say Bluffton. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
We do commit ourselves to recognizing Bluffton, but we don't have the details of that answer.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
I'd like to know what is the debt of each university and total debt, and then when you merge, does that become one debt? Do you assume each other's debts? How will that come into play?
Well, it would be one debt, and we've done financial testing. Our auditors have done financial testing on our debt covenant ratio, and all indications are that both the University of Findlay's debt and Bluffton's debt, separately and together, are more than manageable over the next many years.
But what are those debts for each one?
So our total debt, Kim, help me here. You have it memorized. What is it?
I do not have our total debt.
Yours is small.
Ours is less than. And so, part of what we want to be thoughtful about is that we don't want to give out any misinformation or information that can be used differently. So again, if you want to come and talk with us, this is being video recorded. And if you want to look at like 990s, which we are required to file, and they're public information, a lot of that information is there, Lorinda, and you can get the exact numbers from last year's 990. And so that would be a really good place if people have concerns about that. They can go look at the 990 from the University of Findlay and the 990 from Bluffton University. And that way, as you peruse the information, if you have questions, let our folks know. But that information is available to you. But what we do know, and what our boards know, because believe me, they have the fiduciary responsibility for our organization, is they looked under every rock, every stone, every piece of, not every piece of grass in the nature preserve, but a lot of them, to make sure that fiscally this would work. They went up, down, and sideways. And so I hope you will have some trust in our board who have representation here. One of them is a CFO. That you will have trust in our board and their acumen to make that decision.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, another question?
I'm Chuck Oz. I teach chemistry here at Bluffton. I don't know if you realize how hurt people's feelings are and how much distrust this process has generated. I've talked to a couple of mutual friends, and they told me that they know donors in 6 figures that are withdrawing their money, taking Bluffton out of their will because of it. We've been told that recruitment looks good for next year, and then 2 weeks later, we're told to cut our budgets because we're looking at a deficit. While we're being told we're financially stable, we're being then told that maybe next year it isn't. I appreciate your effort putting into this, President Dell, but when you say things like, we'll have members on the board from Bluffton and from Findlay, if there are more members from Findlay, they can overrule. In Congress, it only takes one vote for one group to win over the other. And so the question really is, what assurances do we have that in the long run, Bluffton will be treated fairly? I have no concerns about your character or your willingness to do this, but what about your successors? You've given examples of mergers that have worked out well, but in the past few years, we went down to Urbana that was taken over by Franklin. It's basically a sports camp these days. The dorms are dilapidated. The only thing that works is the athletic building and the dining hall. So there's a lot of mistrust that the secrecy is held. And then over the weekend, I hear that, oh, and you learned about this 2 or 3 months ago, but we weren't told until last week. So, yes, the question would be, what can you do to mend the bridges that have been broken?
I'm not sure that I got all the parts of that question, but I'll start with a couple of them, okay? So every decision we make is risky. There's no question about it. I cannot promise that there's no long-term risk in a merger, and I think what we have to do is measure that level of risk against the level of risk of not merging for both of us. For both of us, we eliminate a bit of competition. We bring our strengths together. I believe you can look at the history of the University of Findlay just as you look and know well yourself the history of Bluffton University. We have lived by principles of sound faith and care for students, care for one another, and care for our communities for 142 years. Can I promise you that the board in 20 years will abide by those principles? I cannot. I can't promise you that if we're separate, and I can't promise you that if we're together. But my belief is that they will by God's grace. And we are coming to this as this generation of leaders, students, faculty, and staff from both campuses whose intentions not only include speeches we may give and principles we may quote, but the way we live every day. Are there risks that new people who are less principled will somehow come into power, whether we're separate or together? There is that risk. And the University of Findlay will be the university in this merger that remains larger in the foreseeable future, I hope Bluffton campus outgrows us all. That would be a success as part of the University of Findlay. That would be growth for all of us as the university together. If the University of Findlay goes from 3,500 students on the Findlay campus to 7,000 students, Bluffton campus goes with us. It grows with us. We would be the same. We're helping each other grow. But I agree with you. I don't know who's going to be the president in another decade or two. I don't know who will be on the board, but I don't know who would be attracted to a campus like ours or Bluffton who doesn't share our approach to paying attention and taking care of students. We're driven by something better than the power or the money of being the strongest, biggest, fanciest school in the region. That's not what drives us. What drives us is our calling to teach and prepare students. And I suspect that is stronger. That's where I would put my bet. Not on who's represented on the board.
And I thank you, Kathy. I think that's really important. And that is actually is such a good point, is there are risks if we merge, there are risks if we don't merge. And that is something our boards did talk a great deal about. But at the end of the day, I think it should come back to always is to our students. That is why we're here, is what our mission calls us to do. And I will tell you, over these last few days, I have talked to groups and groups of students. President Fell and I together have talked to groups of students. And you know what I hear overwhelmingly from Bluffton students? I hear how excited they are about this. Now, I'm sure there are a few who haven't come up to me who have some concerns, but their eyes lit up, some of them, when I said, you can have some access to computer science programs, and we don't offer that here. We don't have that specialty. They can't code here. They can't learn to code computers here. They could do that at the University of Findlay, and their eyes lit up. When I said you could get on a fast track to the Doctor of Physical Therapy program, their eyes lit up. When I said you could think about entering the Physician's Assistant program, their eyes lit up. I haven't spent as much time with the University of Findlay students, but I hope when they hear they can get a Master's of Dietetics and Nutrition here in a beautiful brand new building, I hope their eyes will light up. Speech, audiology, and speech pathology and audiology we offer here. They don't offer at the University of Findlay. We hope their students get really super excited about that program because we're excited about it. We hope that their students will come to our Masters of Social Work program. Findlay doesn't have a Master of Social Work program. So when I see our students' eyes light up about the possibilities, they're asking us if we can run a shuttle back and forth because they're that excited. When our campus ministry students are excited to get to know the campus ministry students at the University of Findlay, that makes my heart happy. And I know, and I've heard how hard this is for some of us. And there will be a process of what that looks like and how perhaps we're able to come to terms with that. And we want to be there with you. And if it would be helpful to talk to some of our board members, I know they would also be glad to talk with you and listen and hear concerns because they do care deeply about our faculty and our staff and our alumni. But it is our students that our mission calls us to serve first. And I truly believe with all my heart, and I know that our boards also believe that this is an opportunity for our students and for the University of Findlay students.
Thank you both.
Presidents, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you for your honesty with us. I want you to understand that I do welcome that, and all of our team at the University of Findlay welcome it, and I know the Bluffton team does as well. So we want to hear from you. We want to work through these decisions over the next year. We'd like to have your input as we go. I think that might help allay some fears. We might have more specific answers for you. We will have more specific answers to your very pertinent and important questions as we go. And I just invite you not to walk away from us and give up on this conversation, but to keep us honest stay in the conversation, keep us on task so that we do this right. We really want to get this right. And I would not ask you to approve of it or to like it if you don't. I would just appreciate if that dislike could be used to help us get this better.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. I am in College Hall. You can reach me at president@bluffton.edu. Our website is up on the screen. There's lots of really great information out there, and it doesn't answer all of your questions, and so we're available if you have more after this. And this will not be the last of all of our conversations. We'll keep you updated, and we will be back in touch. So thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being just where you are. We appreciate you.